तो आज हम थोड़ा सा इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं अपने जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं कि टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू हैव ए सेमिनार. व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस सेमिनार actually? So there are a lot of new opportunities, and Mr. Prakash is working in a very reputed company in the USA, in the Boston, right? And nowadays, because of Corona, so a lot of new opportunities coming. So and he designed a new course also, and that will train the new youngsters, okay, young people, so that they can learn new techniques, new skill, and then with new skill they can earn a lot in future, right? Because until unless you are more skilled, then you can fulfill your requirement in the industry, right? Because industry is coming, a lot of industry is coming from US, Canada, Japan, and then people are starting new venture here. Almost 2 years back, we and Prakash and many other scientists were thinking about, when Ebola was coming, a lot of viruses were emerging in the India. Dengue was there, so we were thinking a lot about this feature that we should have a testing facility, and we were talking about the RT-PCR, right? But now suddenly, there was no laboratory in the India till this was known that COVID-19 is coming, and COVID-19 has emerged and taking lives of millions. So suddenly, at least more than 8,000 laboratory within a month emerged for the testing purpose, right? And then there were new discoveries also, where IIT Delhi students has developed some kit based on the RT-PCR, and that is doing well, I think, right? So it's a kind of great development. But what about the vaccines? The vaccine is going to be developed, so what is the quality norms? How this is certified? What is the certification agency? What are the requirements of the industry? What is the requirements of the biopharmaceutical industry? So a lot of practices are involved, and if let me introduce, please mute all other. I request all other participants to mute yourself, so that there should be minimum disturbance. Okay. Mr. Akshay, okay. Mr. Akshay, Mr. Rajesh, most welcome. Suparna, can you on your audio? So let me introduce to very honorable guest from the Boston today, and he is appearing twice on my request, because once we planned on the 20th July, and then suddenly, because of some work, I have to prepone it on the 19th, and again I rescheduled it on the 23rd, so that whatever the young scientists are there, young learners are there, people are there, they should take the benefit. Rajesh, please, possible you can mute yourself. That will be great. So let me introduce Mr. Prakash. Mr. Prakash is a professional with experience in a lot of equipments, validation techniques like IQ, OQ, PQ, development and execution. And he is a validation engineer in a very reputed company. He will tell you all about that. Let me briefly describe the achievement, his technical skills, and he is an expert of many laboratory techniques like Pharma, change control, CAPA, right? And might be pharmaceutical people are knowing all these techniques. So a life sciences stream student can have expertise on all this. For example, they can learn the Six Sigma Green Belt, right? And can have command over various techniques like bioreactor, mixer, MPV, freezer, refrigerator, incubator, and all these I think known to a normal student working in the laboratory. And beside this, quality control is a quite sophisticated tools nowadays, where a lot of manufacturing practices are involved. We have to prepare a lot of documents, various process improvement you have to check, process simulation you have to done, right? You should know various software like Minitype 16, SPSS, DOE, right? All these processes he will discuss, Mr. Prakash will discuss shortly. And he learned also formulation and development of different validation techniques like swab sampling, which is very common nowadays in the corona positive patients. And now since corona is asymptomatic, it's quite dangerous nowadays. So due to COVID-19, due to emerging threats, these kind of techniques like risk assessment, FISH, and then bone diagram, root cause analysis, process validation, familiar with operation of autoclave incubator, that is the normal routine exercise of the laboratory, and performing temperature mapping studies, right? Kia validator, portable. So all these, based on all these learnings and the management skill he learned during the last 5 years, during his work with a very reputed companies in the US. So he designed a very good course, and he is offering at very low cost to the student, Indian students especially, which is costing from 25 to 35,000 in US. Here in India, hardly it will cost not more than 5,000. Okay. So welcome, Mr. Prakash, on behalf of all my participants, my colleagues, my researcher, my students, and please, I welcome you on the behalf of Merit Life Sciences as a Director of Merit Life Sciences. I have a lot of blessings for you as a student of mine. I always bless you to grow and rise, and to also make create opportunity for our students, for our Indian students who are interested to grow, because mostly there is one route after MSc. Mostly people are doing net CSIR, right? And this is a big trap, what I feel, right? Big trap. Why I'm what saying? Because you are going to bound all your 5 years. Next 5 years you are blocked. So many boys, they have very good talents, of many skills are there, they want to learn but they don't know. So please guide, and please guide all of us. I again welcome Mr. Prakash to start this grand presentation over the biopharmaceutical engineering. Mr. Prakash, thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I think it's a good afternoon for all of you. So first of all, good afternoon, and I'd like to thank all of you for taking our time to be part of this webinar presentation here. So let me bring up the full screen first. So I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, it's a quite visual. It's a visual, very clear. No problem.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm from India. Right now, I'm located at Boston city in United States, and currently I'm working as a commissioning and validation. Sorry.
Please mute everyone.
Radio problem.
Prakash, kindly mute everyone. In the last session, we will have a question and answer session. Then we can discuss everything. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So, yeah, I'm from India. Moved to United States back in 2015, and then currently I'm working as a commissioning and validation engineer in one of the sort of a viral vector service company. In general, the company has so many portfolios, but I basically support a lot of vaccine development currently. as a commissioning and validation engineer. So being a student of a biotech and a biopharmaceutical right now, one thing which I identified over my 5 years of career is that we need to understand what are the right skills that would be asked when you move to industry, or what are the skills industry would look forward from yourself when you start working from there. When I moved to United States and pursued my master's here, and then during my first job, I realized that whatever skills or whatever knowledge we gain during our college not necessarily can be transferred into the skill sets, and industry is definitely looking after skill sets. And then I realized there is a gap. So I identified gap. It took me some time to learn a lot of skills and to be a professional enough and be useful to company. So I realized, how about having a course for people, young people out there who's still in their bachelor's or master's, if they can learn those skills ahead of time, rather than learning it when they're at company or when they start the job. The part of problem is when you are ahead of time, and if you know those skill sets, you can grow at higher rate and at great pace compared to other people. Also, company consider, or any industry consider, a new employee as a liability, because they have to invest so much of time, so much of money behind you to train you. And the part of problem in India is a lot of pharmaceutical companies, they hire a lot of people, but they basically have to train each of the new hirees to bring up to the speed, so they can take a help out of you at their manufacturing plant, could be their management support. So with this presentation today, I'll demonstrate certain skill set which we need, or which you can learn by enrolling in this course ahead of time. So whenever you go for an interview, or whenever you're trying to get yourself for enrolling in the new company, you can demonstrate the skills, and you will see a whole lot of difference. Not just in the, you will get the job much more easily compared to other people. You will also have a good pay grade, and also you can grow at a faster rate than normally people takes. Because when you go into industry, it takes at least 2 to 3 years for you to grow. All right. With that, let me introduce to the course, or which we'll be talking about this presentation. It's called Introduction. This is basically a biopharmaceutical engineering and its future prospects. So what are the things we will learn today, or what are the 5 things we'll speak about today? So we'll speak about what is biopharmaceutical engineering. Second, we will speak about what is current market, or what are the current job opportunity in India and in global platform. Third, we will speak about course curriculum, what this course has to offer, or what is the curriculum for them. Fourth is who can enroll. Fifth is what is the importance of the specialized course. Lesson 1, what is a pharmaceutical engineering? So with this topic, we'll cover 3 things. We'll see what is the definition, what is the goal of the course, and what are the area of biopharmaceutical engineering that we will get to explore. So this course, or the definition in general, is the idea is to integrate the study of pharmaceutical and biotechnology engineering concepts with more advanced engineering design and scientific methodologies to satisfy specialty needs within the industry. So when I say industry, we are talking about biopharmaceutical industry. So the idea is to utilize the pharmaceutical knowledge, biotechnology knowledge, and those skill sets or those concepts we learn basically. Skills normally we learn when you are on your job or when you're really doing actual work. When you're in college, you just learn the concepts. So we want to utilize those concepts, whether you have a pharmaceutical background, whether you have biotechnology background. We can fit in those and we can utilize for more advanced engineering design and scientific methodologies to meet the industry need. Industry needs those people to utilize the skills to meet their requirement. So what is the goal? The goal of the program is to concentrate primarily on industry area related to commercial manufacturing, such as good manufacturing practice, manufacturing technologies, facility design. So people design facility because this is not a normal building. The manufacturing plants, they have to be so thoroughly well designed that you cannot afford to have mistakes. There are so many things involved. Commissioning, validation of equipment, compliance, and quality. Quality of a product is of utmost important. Reason is without a good quality, you cannot have your product, because this is not something you're selling it. This is something a patient takes it. So we are treating a patients, and in our industry, quality is very important. What are the areas of biopharmaceutical engineering which we can go into? Once you learn a lot of skills within this coursework, these are the 6 different areas. You can basically enroll yourself or make a wonderful career out of that. You can be a process engineering, you can be commissioning engineering, you can be a validation engineering. If you are really good at a lot of skills like chromatography, spectrophotometry, if you have a good understanding of bioreactors, you can go into manufacturing science and technology, where you will support law, or you will utilize your skill sets or scientific skill sets and like your technology understanding to support entire commercial manufacturing of could be vaccine, could be any specific therapeutic drug. 5th is quality assurance validations. So you can be an expert if you have a good understanding of quality. You can be a quality assurance validation engineer, which means you would be reviewing a lot of documents. You will provide quality inputs to during the manufacturing for the documents, for the procedures, for a lot of compliance document that you will submit to agencies like FDA, like European Union, like Japanese Pharmacopoeia, Indian Pharmacopoeia, where people reviews documents. 6 is project engineering, which basically means it's a management role where you will give your inputs, you run a project, you maintain a project. If you have good understanding of finance, because money is a lot of money is involved here, right? So if you have good understanding along with the good pharmaceutical concepts, so you know how process runs, you understand how overall manufacturing runs. But now, since you have good understanding of finance, you would basically guide people that, okay, we can save money here by using this concept or by following this procedure. So that's why you are known as project engineering. You are an engineer, but you also understand a management aspect of that. So you can be a project engineer. All right, so lesson 2. So this is very important, I feel. Until you don't know what market is or what market looks like, it's very hard to consider, okay, why I need to take this course, or not just about this course, but in overall aspect. If you see whatever degree you are currently pursuing, could be bachelor, master's, or if you're doing your background depends whether you're just engineering or if you're chemical engineering or pharmaceutical engineer, or if you're doing biotech, you need to know what are the job opportunities. How can I utilize my concepts and convert them into skill sets, and how can I get a job, whether it's in India, whether it's in Singapore, whether it's in Australia or Japan, wherever it is. So until you know what is how big is my platform, or how can I put myself in a position where I can get success. So, all right. So lesson 2, India and global biopharmaceutical industry and job opportunity. So we'll cover 3 things: current market in India, and job opportunity, and globally, how big is the industry right now. Right. Kindly, I would request the new joinees to just mute themselves. Classification of sector based on engineering scope. If you see, it's very important to understand what are the sectors, or what are the areas where you can put yourself, or you can find a job for yourself. There are 4 major sections which I identified, because when you're coming from, it's hard until you get into the business, you do not realize how can I differentiate, basically. So I'll help you to differentiate that. The sector is, first is vaccine development or vaccine manufacturing. Second is therapeutics. Third is a medical device. You must be seeing a lot of devices around you. And fourth is diagnostics kits and those things. Vaccine, we all are well aware of vaccine. There are a lot of vaccine being developed around the world, not just this year. This year is special because we have this pandemic right now, so everyone is trying to get a vaccine for coronavirus. But apart from that, there are a lot of other diseases, there are a lot of problems people are trying to get vaccines for. Then there is a lot of therapeutics work being done. So the industries are a little different. The procedures are different. The manufacturing requirements is different. That's why we have identified the sectors. Then medical device is wonderful sector. We don't realize, since we give vaccine and therapeutics so much importance, medical device is also a huge market for all of us to get a job in. My presentation is purely based on how can we get ourselves placed. I'm not going to give you more detail about or definition about what vaccine or what is therapeutics or what is medical device, right? I'm pretty sure everyone understands and everyone is what I can definitely give you when we go into our coursework in detail. When you enroll yourself, we can definitely talk in more details about that. But for now, I'll just keep it little brief. Diagnostic, we all know, a lot of diagnosis kits has been developed around the world for a lot of disease. We all are trying to get a kit or a diagnostic procedure or method that works quickly, or at least takes lesser time, so you can diagnose a lot of people quickly to identify the problem, and then you can treat the patient. So this 4 industry or sectors is, I would say, booming right now, and there is a huge opportunity for all of us to get ourselves placed in that. I think this meeting might end in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then I think Dr. S.M. Butt would provide you a new link, so I would request all of you to join after that as well. Okay, so Indian biopharmaceutical industry and job opportunity. So if a lot of people might have not known the growth rate or what is current government support or what is the market value in India. You would not believe our industry is aiming to be approximately 70 billion by 2025, which is 5 years from now. And when I say 70 billion, it's in US dollars. So imagine how big our market is going to be, or it is already growing. And considering current coronavirus issue, our market is booming, I would say. Why it's like that, or why our industry will go that bigger? The reason is, there is two good things. The first thing is our Indian government is started or has shown a lot of interest and support to a lot of new companies who's coming out of India. Could be from any country. The second thing, our biotech industry is going. We have a lot of good candidates come out of with biotech background. We have a lot of our own agencies or biotech sponsors projects, government sponsor biotech projects. The good thing about it is we have a lot of innovation opportunity. Our process is robust. There is an increasing in investment. There is an increase in demand, so we have to supply. So India is one of the country who can meet those demands. We have good policy support from government, and Indian biotech company are looking forward to collaborate with global pharmaceuticals or biotech companies for clinical trials, or could be manufacturing, or could be just manufacturing APIs. You wouldn't believe the largest.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Awesome. So just mute participant.
Just wait 1 minute. People are joining now.
Yeah. And also you might have to provide me a cut. Okay. I'll admit people as they start joining again. Okay. So yeah, I think we just spoke about Indian global market. And I think I didn't mention one thing about India is based on the current market scenario, India is looking to add 2 times the job opportunity, or the 2 times the number, which means we are looking roughly around 4 to 5 million jobs. When we say 4 to 5 million jobs, we're looking around adding a huge number. This is just in India. Let's talk about global market. The current global market or current industry worth $1.25 trillion. Imagine how big that is. I'm just talking purely about the revenues worldwide. This is an approximately estimation based on an article recently published. And I'm assuming this is definitely much more higher than this. And if you see, this is we're purely talking about just biopharmaceutical numbers. We have not taken into consideration about the medical device or the diagnostics. So imagine how big this number could be, and how much jobs opportunity is out there. The only good thing about our industry is this is always classified as essential business. So whatever it comes, or if there is a recession in the market, if there is a pandemic like coronavirus, our industry never stops. The chances of getting our job increase day by day, rather than other industry where there is always chance of more competitive. There are a lot of people out looking for jobs like in ITs or the management. But our industry has that privilege that it's an essential business. So there is always a growing room for all of us. So that was about global. So moving on to our course curriculum. So we'll talk about 4 things in course curriculum. I'll talk about basic biopharmaceutical manufacturing. How does manufacturing happens, or what are the points we need to consider during biopharmaceutical manufacturing. We'll talk about process engineering in biopharmaceutical industry. We'll talk about validation in biopharmaceutical industry, and finally we'll talk about the quality. Biopharmaceutical manufacturing. So what is biopharmaceutical manufacturing? In general, or in very simple language, I would say, when you are manufacturing a drug product using a biotechnology concept, or you can use pharmaceuticals. That is, in a way, in a very simple language, that's biopharmaceutical manufacturing. So now, what the word manufacturing is very important, because this is not just a normal recipe given to you and you just make that product. There are a lot of things involved in manufacturing. There are a lot of departments that are involved. So let me talk about 4 important things. When you will learn about, or when you will during this coursework, even when you learn about basic things about this manufacturing, what will you be able to do it? You'll be able to demonstrate an understanding of technologies used in manufacturing different drugs, substance, or good, because it's not always that you're manufacturing a final drug product. You're manufacturing API, you're manufacturing different drug substance, and then finally you manufacture products. You'll be able to determine process and environmental factors that needs to be controlled in order to produce a pharmaceutical products in accordance with good manufacturing practices. You are able to select equipment. As I say, manufacturing is not just a recipe. There are equipment involved, there are procedures involved, there are process involved, there are parameter involved, there are a lot of the regulatory requirements that are involved that you need to follow during manufacturing. So you'll be able to identify right equipment for conducting your various process operations during manufacturing. You'll be able to effectively communicate results of their assignments, research about pharmaceutical manufacturing in oral presentation and in written reports. You will be wondering why about these presentations and reports. These are the really important. Your manufacturing would be considered, or your product which you manufacture would be considered that it complies with the regulatory requirement based on your reports, based on the presentation or the documents you generate, right? There is a saying in our industry: if it is not documented, it was not done. Which means if you're not documenting certain procedures, certain steps, people would not believe you that you had followed that step to achieve that product. So agencies, compliance agencies, regulatory requirements, or everything, they will question you. They'll ask for documents. So in our industry, reports are very important. Process engineering. So a lot of folks, a lot of people has really good understanding of the procedure knowledge. So you can basically, when you will learn about this lot of procedures or a lot of procedure knowledge, you can apply those into industry and you can be a process engineer. What does a process engineering in biopharmaceutical mean? So what does they do? What are their roles? Here it is. So the process engineer, basically what they do is they design the sets or a facility, they design entire process, they design entire or I would say they design entire process step by step. What are the equipment involved? How to install equipment? What are the parameters to be considered during the manufacturing? They run change controls. Change controls are documents. They run the change management. If there is any change in the process, if we need to change any equipment, if certain equipment is not supporting or it's not running, you go for a change management when you work with your management team, and you basically bring a new equipment. You run the control system to make a financial planning and cost analysis, because you cannot just go up to management and say, hey, I need like this equipment worth $2 million. No, you need to do an analysis why it's worth, because you need to identify the effectiveness of the cost. That if you're spending $5 million in a manufacturing of a drug, you should also analyze how much would be return on investment. You will review product schedule, engineering specification. You will see process flow and other information to understand methods that are applied. So process engineer plays a very vital role in running entire manufacturing processes. From some management and some other roles includes coordination with manufacturing and research technicians. You will also get a chance to meet investors. You will also talk to regulatory agencies. You will also get a chance to talk with top-level managers and also a lot of other personnel in the industry. So process engineering role is really important. Validation. This is one of my favorite topic, considering I'm also a validation engineer. So validation is another important aspect of the industry, or where you can find a job for yourself. This basically involves an interaction between, often how to qualify equipment, how to generate those documents which agencies normally ask, agencies like FDA. You follow the regulations, you make sure your equipment is compliant, and whenever those equipment are used in the processes during a manufacturing, our equipment is good enough to deliver those products within those parameters. As a validation engineer, we will learn how to qualify equipment. What is IQ, installation qualification? How would you run an OQ, operational qualification, process qualification of equipment, utility systems, facilities. You will also learn how to validate an active pharmaceutical ingredients, because there are more regulation involved in certain kind of products. There are a lot less requirements in certain kind of products. So based on that, what stage of drug development you are, there are different criteria. There are non-sterile processes, aseparated processes. You will also learn how to create a validation master planning, how to write an SOP, how to run a change control. Change control is a combined activity between process engineering, which we just learned, and also validation. We'll also learn about V models. V model is a model which basically is used in industry in general to validate a system or equipment, or to validate a process. So the quality, why quality? Quality is very, very important for us. Without a good quality product, we cannot run our industry. So quality plays a really important role in determining the product, or determining can you commercialize the product. So what will be the role of a quality personnel, or how can a quality be useful? So the role of a quality in biopharmaceutical engineering basically involves you will be giving a guidance, or you will be playing a vital role in reviewing a lot of documents, making sure we meet all the regulatory requirements. Whatever work done by process engineering and validation engineer, quality personnel will review those work. You will review those documents, you will sign those, you will approve those documents. You will learn about a lot of GMP requirements. As a quality within this coursework, you will also learn about a lot of international requirements. There was an international conference on harmonization, bringing all the regulatory requirements at the same platform. You'll learn about FDA, you will learn about a GAMP requirement. You will also learn how to review a compliance document. You will learn about how to audit. During audit, what are the requirements, what are the procedures, what are the steps you need to follow. As a quality personnel, you would basically be directing manufacturing technicians what needs to happen, what not needs to happen, what step needs to follow. You will help them write the procedures. So your quality role is really intense and really involving, because quality is involved with a lot of different departments, because a lot of people depend on the quality to make sure everything is in the right direction. Lesson 4. So now question would arise, can I enroll myself based on you could have a different background? So to answer that, here is our lesson 4. Definitely you can enroll whether you have a background, whether you're in a bachelor stage or whether you're a master's, whether you have biotechnology, you're pursuing a master's in biotechnology, whether you're doing engineering, whether you're doing chemical engineering, whether you're doing mechanical engineering. Being from normally people having a chemical or mechanical engineering background, they normally go into process engineering. Whether you have bachelor's or master of pharmaceuticals, any pharmaceutical streams, whether you're doing industrial technologies. A lot of my friends down here who had a industrial background are working with me in this, and sort of they also work as a gap between the design a facility, they then design the processes, they help during a scale up, because normally a process is designed at very pilot level or at lab level. Then when you want to commercialize, you need people with a lot of industry knowledge, how to scale up, how to use the big bioreactors, what are the parameters. So people with different background can enroll themselves. Okay, so next would be lesson 5, importance of the specialized course. What is the importance, or what does this course would offer, or how this course would help us, or how does it fit in my portfolio? That would be the question you must have next. This course is very unique and specialized with a wide opportunity. We already spoke about what are the opportunity, or what are the different job titles you can take, or how can you utilize your concepts which you learned during college. And with this course, you'll learn a lot of skill sets that you can get into as a process engineer, commissioning engineer, validation engineer, as a quality personnel, as a project engineer. So you have so much opportunities once you take the skill sets, because we'll touch base with all those topics which we spoke in detail. Each lecture would give you enough information that you will be utilizing during actual work on your job. I'm not just going by any book. I'm going to give you actual thing that happens on floor, which I do myself. Once you have those skill sets, the pay of your job would increase not just by 1% or 5%. It will be in so much. I would almost say, what happens is when you go from your college and into an industry, you, as I mentioned when we started presentation, for a company you are a liability, because they cannot use you until you have certain skill sets. So basically they'll invest the time, money, and resource to train you, and it takes almost 6 to 1 year. So for the company, you are basically of not that much of use. They are just training you. You'll be useful for them after maybe 1 year. They can start utilizing your skills that you are getting a train on. So companies are not really willing to pay that price, so they'll pay you less price. So normally in India, I know when you go out, people will get jobs, but not the high-paying jobs. That's a problem. You will get your raise in your pays after 2 years, 3 years. The problem is there is a gap. So to we identify that gap, and to fulfill that gap, that's the coursework would offer you. When you go into an interview and you speak about this skill sets, when you speak about or share this knowledge, they know that you are equipped with the right skills, and then you can negotiate your pay, because you already know the things which you need to know or which you will be doing on it. This course will enable you to give a global platform. this is not just that you will get a job in India or something. The course is designed in such a fashion that all the skills can be utilized in any country, or you can go and work in any industry you would like. It could be in Singapore, India, Europe, Japan, because everyone follows the same pattern or procedures when it comes to manufacturing a drug product. The good thing is, the final thing is, this course fits for all. It's not just like somebody with biotech background or somebody with just pharmaceutical background. It's engineering, it's pharmaceutical people doing industrial having an industrial background or pursuing an industrial technologies. In engineering also, you see people I work with comes with like chemical engineering background, mechanical engineering background. So those are the things so that's why I say fit for all. And finally, our industry is so essential. All the jobs which we talk about, whether you are a process engineering, validation engineer, commissioning engineer, whether you're a project engineer, you all are essentials. So when I say essentials, even though good times or bad times, whether global has an economic crisis, has a pandemic like this, or any other issues, our industry will never stop. There will be always a new job opportunity out there. There will be more job opportunity out there. Considering this pandemic, a lot of companies are hiring new people with the skill sets which we speak. They're looking for new validation engineers. They're looking for new process engineering. They're looking for new quality people to support their new projects. They're working on developing a vaccine like for coronavirus, so they need like new people. In United States itself, there are a lot of new hirings. When I say there are huge numbers, people are getting a new jobs. Whereas in other industries, a lot of people are losing their jobs because of the global crisis, global economic problem, because there are a lot of cycles that got disturbed because of this pandemic. People are staying in home, nobody's going to work. But all the people involved in this, our industry, since our industry is essential, we provide a support, life support to the patients, we provide medicines. That's why we will always have a job, no matter what comes. That's why when you have the skill sets, you will always get a job, and always high-paying job, whether you're in any part of the globe. With that, we come to a conclusion, or I would like to conclude this presentation. So I would like to now open the floor for questions, feedback, comments, anyone curious about anything, or if you did not follow something or any slides or something like that. I think you should have a ability to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Kindly unmute to all the participants, no? So they will be asking questions. Suparna, Nanda Krishna, Alisa, Akshay,
Yeah.
all you can go with some questions, about the career, about the course.
Hello. So what will the opportunities after this whole pandemic and generally biotech candidate?
I could barely hear you. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Are you on speaker?
Yeah. What will the opportunities for a biotech candidate after the pandemic?
What is the opportunity for biotech candidate in a pandemic?
After this pandemic gets over?
Sure. So I would like to just reiterate that it's not just after pandemic or during pandemic. We as in, let's say, as a professionals with whether biotech or any background, especially biotech, the industry, our industry will be always open to hire new people. So you will have a huge opportunity, not just with if you're thinking, okay, this is because of this pandemic, people are making more drugs. No, there are a lot of diseases been a problem for a lot of patients. So industry is always growing and developing new drugs, new products, new vaccines, new therapy. So our industry overall is growing day by day. So you will have, I would say, more opportunity as a biotechnology student. you can be could be a supporting scientist if you are good at if you want to go into R&D. So whether you want to go into engineering, you can learn about this course. You can get a job as an engineer. So there's a huge opportunity.
Okay, sir.
Actually, you have to learn a lot
Thank
of
you.
skills, right? And that's why we are launching this course. That is related to the quality assurance, quality validation, and all that is covered in this biopharmaceutical engineering course. This is the 3 months course we are launching, and this will help you in getting the job wherever there will be opportunity in India or abroad.
Somebody asked, is there an opportunity for zoology student? What are the opportunities of zoology student with a specific endocrinology? So specifically for the student like for zoology, I would say your role, it's depend on, there are two aspects of this. Considering your background in zoology and specifically in endocrinology, your role would be more involved in developing a new drug product. So you will have an opportunity to get a job in R&D department, where you can play around with a lot of species and bacteria or like a virus, a lot of new because I know like being from a zoology background and specifically in endocrinology, it's more of a research aspect part, not much towards engineering, because this course which we are talking about right now has to much more do on the front part of this, because R&D is what they say, okay, this is the species we will be utilizing during the or this is the recombinant DNA technology we'll use along with the species to generate this so-called protein or this vaccine or medicines. So your role will be much more revolved around that part. What we are talking right now is when we have or identified the right combination, how can we manufacturing into commercial products? If you want to come out from, let's say, once you are pursuing that career as an R&D engineer or as an R&D scientist, but you also need to make sure that whatever process you're designing should meet a compliance or should be designed in such a fashion that it can be commercialized along with meeting those regulatory requirements. So as a scientist, you need to understand those things. So this course will help you in knowing how an actual commercialized industry runs. So if you understand that aspect, you can design your methods, you can design your product in that fashion that it's easy for your engineering team to manufacture that. So you can explore those aspects. I know a lot of people who work in R&D doesn't have good understanding of how the actual commercialized industry works or how engineering has to face a problem, because if it is not well designed, we have so many issues. We have go back and forth. A lot of company loses their money. But when you understand the front aspects from background, you can use those skills and design that. So I think next question is, I completed BSc Biotech. Should I go further for Masters in Biotech or Pharma? This is from Akshay. Okay. So Akshay, when you go into Masters, you want to decide whether your interest is in more of, I would say, as an academical, where you can, in further, if you say, oh, I want to do PhD and research, you can be either scientist or you can be a professor teaching someone. And if you want to come into more of a corporate world or corporate job opportunities, then you want to identify what as part of the sector I want to go. Based on that, you would say biotech and pharma. because when you consider masters in biotech, you will learn more about basic, like you will learn about gene therapies, you'll learn about molecular biology, you'll learn about immunology. Whereas when you go into pharma, you will learn more about how to manufacturing drugs, more of utilizing your knowledge in developing a drug. Both is good. It depends where you want to go. Next is okay. So I think the rest is vote of thanks from people. So sure. So I would also let me thank all of you. I hope no one has any more questions, or if there are, I can still answer those.
One thing I would like to add. People are asking basically what is the career scope if we are doing this course after MSc or BSc, right?
Right.
So that's the answer we are not
right.
giving. So we should answer this, right? And also, P. Devi is doing PhD in environmental toxicology, right? So she is also, I think, asking for the right kind of advice regarding this course. If they are joining this course, then is there any further scope in the industry or not?
Yeah. So very good question. So I'll give you one very good example. I think there was a sort of similar question from Suparna, because she's also like pursuing talk. So one good thing I would like to share about this specific, or if I can relate this course, is one of my very good friend. He did PhD. He had a background from biotechnology, correct? And he worked basically. His research work was more of to develop a lot of cancer therapies or people who suffer specific cancers. And a friend of mine also had a PhD in. I think the toxicology itself. So how they are fit in during corporate world or this commercial manufacturing. So so the person who did a PhD in biotechnology currently is a QC scientist, developing a methods or developing a parameter that will be used during manufacturing. And he normally reaches out to me for my consultation or my inputs, considering I have thorough knowledge of all the skills that normally would then be applied. So how all of these things are linked. So what happened is it's not that easy to manufacture a drug. So first of all, what happened, you develop or you build a drug in a lab. So now somebody would develop a lab without understanding how it would be commercialized. And then when it comes to commercialize, it's very hard to design, upscale it. Upscale is you develop a drug at like, okay, you have to like make 100 tablets, let's say, for example. But now when you want to sell out in the market, you are not just making 100 tablets, you're making like millions of tablets.
No, this computer center.
Okay, I think there is a disturbance from someone. Okay, so what happens is, if the person who is designing this, whether a QC scientist or an R&D scientist, he needs to understand the skill sets which we spoke about, that how process engineer will make sure all parameters are made. So when you design a process, if you understand this aspect, one of my friend who I spoke about is a QC scientist. So he takes a lot of inputs from my end because I'm the person, the finalize, who would going to help manufacture this product or qualify this equipment. So he writes his procedures based on my input. So how to write an SOP, how to make sure if he's writing a certain procedure to test, let's say there is a testing procedure, so he want to make sure those are written correctly. So all the skills which we are talking right now does apply in some manners, whether you're a QC scientist, whether you are an R&D scientist specialized in toxicology, or whenever you design a method for toxicology, testing a toxicity, right, in a drug product. or could be an environmental toxicology. You need to understand the procedure. If so PhD, I know a lot of people have this thing that, okay, if I'm doing PhD, I'm not going to corporate. No. In the end of the day, you all will come to a corporate world where you will utilize these skills. Masters in Biotech and want to grow my career in renewable and environmental sectors. Sure. This is Biswajit. So Biswajit, your question is relevant, but it's not completely relevant to what we're talking about. I'm not saying that it is like completely irrelevant, but in a way, since you are a biotech student and now you want to make your career in renewable and environmental sectors, it's a different sector. So we are talking specifically about biopharmaceutical sectors.
No, I would like to add regarding this master career in renewable and environmental sector. And earlier we had a little talk to the Biswajit Mohapatra, right? So what I can say, I'm the expert of this biofuel industry and renewable sector. So nowadays a lot of industry is coming up, and there was no specialization, and still there is no specialization available in the India at least. And if you want to do this specialization, then you have to go abroad. For example, I have suggested you can join some courses and in the UK, right?
Yeah.
There are some universities which are opening this renewable and environmental sector masters in biotechnology, and that is the specialization available of 2 years course. Okay, so if you want to know more, you have to visit the website meritlifesciences.com, and if you want to know more about this or any kind of career scope, then you can WhatsApp me. I am giving you all my number, and I think you all should have my number. So you can ask any query related to this biopharmaceutical course or renewable or any kind of career scope. So because at least 2 PhD students are doing work over this renewable and biofuel. So after the masters, either you can go for the directly PhD under a teacher who is doing specialization on this work, right? That is the one option, or you can directly go to the abroad and you can finish your master course. Thank you.
Sure. So in general, whether you're doing a PhD, if you're going end up in going into like R&D sector or designing a drug or designing any procedure or therapies, this course would ultimately be useful because you have to design a procedure based on that because you need an understanding overall how different department works and what will be their requirement. So in general, that's the reason you should have the skill sets. So I think with this meeting, I think we have 1 minute and like 20 seconds left.
We again will join with the same link, right? Till all the queries have been resolved.
Questions? Yeah.
What is the scope
I think there's
of biotech candidate abroad in pharma?
Sure. So the scope of biotech candidate abroad in pharma or in general biopharma is huge. As I already mentioned, that you can pursue your career as a scientist if you go, or you can come into corporate. So you can be either on the back end of the developing of products, or even if you pursue a PhD, you will normally end up being a scientist in R&D department or in a QC department, or if you pursue a pharma here, you would have an opportunity to be as a front part of at the forefront, which is the course which we spoke about of manufacturing of drugs. So it depends whether you come here and do just masters. And yeah, so I think we were speaking about the opportunity for a biotech student in abroad. It's huge, not just in India, but I feel like any person with a biotech background can get himself into any position they like, whether you want to be a scientist, whether you want to be an engineer, whether you want to be a PhD candidate and want to have your own research, you want to do your own, you want to be part of any lab. There are a lot of research lab out here you can get your PhD into, or you can do be a research fellow for that. It depends whether you want to come into corporate, whether you want to have your career built in in the developing a new drugs, products, vaccines as an R&D scientist. You can be that. So, any more questions?
Suparna, have you got your? If you want to learn this technique, you should join this course, no? Then you will learn a lot of things about the quality control, validation, how to prepare the paperwork, a lot of things here.
I got my card.
Pardon?
Yes, sir. Got my answer.
Okay. So this course is completely useful for all. If you are joining and you are belonging to life sciences background, either you are doing BSc or masters, right? So whenever you are applying for the job, people are looking for those specific things. What you have done, what you have did after your academic sessions, beside academic curriculum, what you learn extra. So if you are mentioning this kind of course certificate that I have done such a course under a master's from USA, so certainly, obviously they are going to ask you certain question, and if you are answering perfectly, they are going to give you the opportunity, right? So that's a very good idea to learn a skill, and we are going to launch this course under 5,000 from 3rd August, I think, Prakash, or 5th August.
Yeah, so yeah, our goal is to start in August. So sooner we have the idea of how many people are joining, we would make sure to start it as early as
a WhatsApp group, right? We will email you WhatsApp group and a form also. So who is interested, they can join that group, and we will have a class every day. Every day we will have online class about that, and then we will teach you all from the scratch, from the basics. It will not be very tough for you. Whatever the techniques we have discussed during the profile of Mr. Prakash, so all we will discuss during this course. Can you give a brief profile about this course, Prakash? What we are going to discuss?
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, so let me share my screen. You'll see my screen, I think, now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think it's okay. Screen sharing stopped. For some reason it stopped. Okay, I had to reach. Okay, I think this is much better. So, here are the things which I have put together on the weekly basis, because this is still a general view, but this will be much more in detail because there are a lot of details involved, and I cannot put together in just one page. So basically in week 1 we'll talk about biopharmaceutical manufacturing. Week 2 we'll talk about regulatory guidelines, and this is not just one, this is like it will be all of the global guidelines we're talking about. Third, we'll talk about facility design. What are the consideration, or what you need to know about how to design a facility, how to do a validation, utilities. we'll talk about design and validation overview. VFI system, which is the water for injection that you use during a manufacturing of a drug. You will talk about compressed air acceptance criteria, which means if you have the compressed air which you would utilizing, what are the criteria? So all the utilities. Fourth, we will talk about process engineering in biopharmaceutical industry in detail. The fifth week would be much of where we say overall how validation occurs, how installation of equipment occurs. The next week would be commissioning and validations. You need to commission your equipment and then you validate. Week 7 would be elaboration to that, so we'll go into more depth about master planning, how to write a procedure, how to run a change control, what is V model. Week 4 would be overview of everything. So the week 8 would be will be of conclusion week, where we will be concluding a lot of the topics which we learned during week 1 to week 7. Then we'll have one of a midterm. I would like to take a test because I want to make sure whatever we are teaching you, you are getting it. If there are doubts, and there would be certain passing criteria. Then we'll follow by the week where you will learn more about aseptic, non-sterile processes, because there is a difference in aseptic processes. Our validation activities are different. I will learn in detail about mapping activity. A lot of people just get a job just being by a chamber mapping, just mapping, or just this is a monitoring activity they normally do. A lot of people runs their entire company by just supporting a chamber mapping activity. So you imagine just this one week or just one topic can get you a job for a lifetime job, not just like 1 month job. People just do job based on this thing. We'll talk about project management, because if is there a project, you need to know how to manage the projects. Once you become manager, you should know how to manage people, how to run the cost, how to run a project. Week 7, week 13, 14, and 15 will be really important because that will cover the entire quality. We have dedicated 3 weeks to quality because there are a lot to learn about quality. And finally, I would like to also have a term paper sort of where I'll be giving a topic to student in the week 1, and you have to basically prepare a presentation, and it would be more so that will give you an opportunity to train yourself that if you are a process engineer, and if this is a drug product, what will be the role, what you will do. So you will present based on the learnings you will do from week 1 to week 15. So you have to make a presentation and a term paper as we go along. So that would give me an idea that whether you got enough knowledge or whether you have enough skills right now. And then we'll take a final exam, which would be, don't get panic. This would just to give an assurance to me and to award a certificate to all of the enrollee or all the people who will enroll. So at least I want to get an assurance that you have enough skills or the right skill sets, or you have learned enough skills based on this. So that's the overall idea, or that's what my plan for now is.
I think Akshay got your answer. Akshay, have you got your answer? This course can be joined by the MSc and BSc both, right? So don't hesitate in learning these skills, new skills.
Yeah.
Well, it's a long process. In 3 months we are delivering the lecture, and then you are practicing somewhere, joining some institute, right? So then suddenly it's not that you will learn everything. But certainly in-depth knowledge of everything is going to give you a very good opportunity in the industry. For example, in the morning I was discussing about the LinkedIn with some industry experts related to vaccine design, and they were saying that we are going to have a lot of opportunity in the near coming futures for the MSc and BSc students, right? So a Serum Institute, I can tell you the name also. Serum Institute going to have a lot of opportunity in the coming future, and also more than 50 industries running in Bharat Biotech, and Kiran Majumdar Shah, she is also in the process of doing the effort in this sector. She has a giant industry, right? So industry is looking for the people, but they should have some skill. They are not. They have no time. They have no sufficient time to make you learn. And if you are not learning, then opportunity is going from you, right? So giving yourself a opportunity in learning beside the academic curriculum is very, very important. For example, if you will talk about me and Prakash had learned a lot after the MSc Biotech, right? He did his master course in biotechnology from India itself, and then he joined some industry, and then he came to know that this is a requirement. Then he was learning, searching here and there, and that's why we decided to launch this course, because this is not available everywhere, right? At least in India you will not find, but India requiring such kind of expertise. So with all this, if you have any suggestion, please go to website meritlifesciences.com. There is a online training certification page. In that page you will find vaccine design, pharmaceutical engineering page, and there is a comment section. You can leave your suggestion, feedback, anything, most welcome. And we are going to have such more webinar in the coming future. So be in touch, and we are launching this course from 5th August. So I am going to inform the content and fee structure and all that details to every participants. At least more than 80 participants are there who have registered for this course. Okay, so thank you all once again. Thanks Prakash for a nice, very nice talk. And on behalf of all the participants, many thanks to you for taking your precious time. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.